Before we get into the Michael Jackson stuff, I just want to congratulate you on a new day. The special is incredible. It's produced by Dave Chappelle. If you haven't seen it, everybody, it's on Netflix. And then also coming up from Ashy to Classy is being re-released on August 20th from 800 Pound Gorilla. Phenomenal. You're one of my favorite comics. You know that I've never seen anybody with energy like you on stage, and it's always going to be a fun show.
I want to take time to give you your flowers, sir, because in this business we all go through. We have trials and tribulations, ups and downs, or whatever. But what I respect about you that you found something that you love to do, you owned it, and a platform that you create. And I constantly see your growth. And like,
thank you.
You want to do this podcast? I was like, who is it? I was like, man, fuck him. I said, no, that's my man. Let's do it.
Well, it's also the DC shit because I'll text you. It's like I'd say we're friends, but it's like we have such different lives. But it's like we have this one defining thing that brings us together, which is our teams eat shit every week, and we still root for them, dude.
I told on stage one day. I said, the Commanders, the football team, or the Redskins, whatever you want to call them. I said, it's the only team that could be up by 32 points in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left, and you will not change the channel. You'll be like, okay, wait. No, wait a minute. All they need is what? 4 touchdowns, an interception, an onside kick, and a fumble. And it will start going in that order. You're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah. So we have a lot to go over. So I want to dive right into this because, I know we only have a little bit of time. And I could start with asking you, when did you first hear Michael Jackson? But that's like asking, when did you first breathe oxygen? Like he's just been there. And especially in the Black community, he's always been there. And he's
go ahead and say what you want to say, Donnell. Your old ass remember Michael Jackson.
No. You all right. You remember the Jackson 5 for sure. Yes. And because my writer was actually, I think his birthday is a day after yours. His is December 7th, 1968. Your December 6th.
Yeah, December 6th. Yep.
Yeah. So we were talking about Michael Jackson before, and it's just like you can't. He's just always been there, and Thriller is this huge thing. Now, before we could talk about all that, I'm going to go into like how he suddenly got to this record, but where were you? Do you remember exactly where you were when you first heard Bad?
I'm more than likely, I was in DC. I'm pretty sure I was in DC. I probably was if my numbers are right, I probably was in high school. But what people don't understand, like I was, me not preparing for this podcast, but me thinking about this podcast, I just been playing Bad, right?
Yeah.
And I've been playing around different people. I've been playing around older people. Mm-hmm. I've been playing around younger people. I've been playing around gay people. And once that beat drops, it is lights out.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Okay. I'm sorry. What was that?
No. You were talking about where were you when Michael Jackson? You're in DC.
I probably was in high school. I'm pretty sure it was high school if I do the math. But it was just back in those days, and it's not like today. It's like when Michael Jackson, Michael didn't just drop singles. He dropped
albums. Yeah.
And then when the album was coming out, there was nothing that anybody in the music world was talking about other than Michael Jackson dropping an album. And then not only that, but he's not dropping an album like nothing. I can't think of any album that flopped. Anytime people weren't excited about it. I remember Thriller, and this was because Michael Jackson basically put MTV music videos on the map.
On the map, right? Yes.
I remember, and it was so out of what you normally thought. Like you always thought, like singers and stuff, they put out songs, but I'm going to do this music video, but not just a music video, but a music video that is probably up to some people's independent film budget. I'm going to put everything in it, and the entire world is going to enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know if do you know that, because I didn't know all of this stuff about getting to this record, and also kind of because you have to talk about Off the Wall and you have to talk about Thriller to get to this one.
Yeah.
So while you interrupt me at any point if you got anything to say.
But you know what? Here's the idea. The idea of bad is kind of, I draw similarities. I think there's some similarities with it. It's like Chris Rock was going through a point in his career where he was accepted by mainstream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was on SNL. He didn't do that. Like, I'll just cut to the chase. White people loved him. But at the same time, I don't think that he had his identity as a black man. The same situation I have with some of the bookers, because I do mainstream, because I do crossover material. People don't think that I'm black enough. I'm street enough.
Yeah.
You know? And then with Bad, it was like, even with Chris Rock, the special that blew Chris Rock when he did Bigger and Blacker at the Apollo Theater. That was just letting y'all know, as much as I'm accepted by mainstream and white people love me, I'm bad.
I'm still a brother. I'm still a brother from Brooklyn.
Exactly. And I think that Michael Jackson was the same thing. Like, people probably thought that, Michael Jackson doesn't come off as the most masculine entertainer out there,
No.
And it was, when that song came out, it just made you feel like, oh shit, Michael Jackson about to kick some ass.
Yeah.
And your bud is mine.
Well, you know what, Donnell, you know what I love about Michael, and that's where it's like, to get to this, is that he might not be this masculine character, but he has a drive inside of him, much like Chris, much like Dave, much like all, some of these people that are like globally, successful, where Michael might have this effeminate demeanor, but dude, he is cutthroat. And when he's like, oh, I'm going to do something, he fucking does it. Like,
you know who else? You know who else had a feminine demeanor to get all the pussy? Prince.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Prince. Don't worry. We just did Dirty Mind like 2 weeks ago on this podcast.
Yeah, it was like this. Who's this dude with this blouse in these heels just getting all the pussy? It was Prince.
Dude, Ali Sadiq said, Prince. I was like, is Prince gay? He goes, he's not gay, because every girl that he fucked had to go to Jesus afterwards. You know what I mean? They all became Jehovah's Witnesses. Like,
that's so funny.
Yeah. So check out this. Check this out. And if you want to jump into anything that I'm saying, but I want to get to this so we can get into the record, because this is super important to why Bad is being talked about and why it's important in the Michael stratosphere. So while Michael was already famous for his work with his brothers and the solo stuff, and in 1979's Off the Wall, that cemented him as a superstar. But despite it having 5 singles and several chart toppers, it only won 1 Grammy, and that pissed Michael Jackson off so much that he swore his next album would rectify that. That's an understatement for the popularity of 82's Thriller, because it spawned 7 hit singles, made him the king of pop worldwide. He also took home 8 Grammys, proving Michael's tenacity and power. Even more importantly, Michael caught his first wave of MTV success, like we were talking about. He rode that phenomenon, becoming the first king of music videos. So that brings us to here, where it's like all eyes and all ears are on Michael Jackson right now. And him and his co-producer, Quincy Jones, want to follow up Thriller. And they're basically like, how are we able to match Thriller's success, or much less top it? And so this is what I was talking about, Michael being the badass that he is, because Thriller sold 20 million copies. And Michael said, for this one, for the next record, he wants to sell 100 million.
Right.
That's like the most gangster shit in the world.
But the thing is, when you like, people get upset about certain things. Like, now you get upset, you start exposing people on the internet. Like, oh, I want to blow this person up. The thing about Mike, it was like, and I love this about in any art form, when you get mad enough, where you say, okay, watch what I do, watch what I'm going to do next. And that was the testament of his career. Can you imagine being the #1 pop star in the world, dealing with some of the personal issues that he had to deal with, we going through, and still maintain a level where I'm still going to be creative. I'm going to block that out, and I'm going to give the people what they want. And I'm going to speak my talk through the music. Just like when he did Black or White. Beat me, beat me. Nobody never know the words, Mike. All you know is, that was him saying, all right, I'm going to show y'all that it don't, in this particular situation, how people judge you, it don't matter if you're black or white. Michael Jackson there's always going to try to be some comparison, but a person that has a true effect on the world. I'm not talking about California. I'm not talking about LA or New York. I'm talking about the entire world. Nobody will ever be Michael Jackson.
I don't think so. And that's also, you mentioned something. It's like, nowadays you can blow up, but you've got Instagram, you got TikTok, you got
Yeah.
YouTube, you got MTV, you got the radio, you got Spotify, all that. They did this shit with just the radio and one fucking television channel, and then like 5
And not
other
only that,
ones.
even to add to that, not only that, just regular time. Like this, we're talking about a time where it's so easy to access music now. You know, like click a button, I got the link, send me the link. We talking about you had to go to the goddamn record store.
Yeah,
you had to stand in line.
Yeah,
you had to get a spot. You had to physically get this off the shelf, take it to the counter, and pay for it.
Yeah,
it's crazy to think that. Can you imagine if Mike now what his streaming numbers would be if that was the case?
You know what? But it's one of those things that, you know, I always say, like, would the Beatles have been so big? Would Elvis have been so big? Would Michael Jackson have been so big if they came out in this time with the same things? Because there's so much diversification. I'm not saying that they couldn't be, like, there are global stars like a Taylor Swift or a Dua Lipa, but it's not, you know, it's
evolving. But if you think about how we get our music and everything is evolving. You know, the thing would be interesting, because even in my field of doing stand-up or whatever, sometimes there's people of my generation that just resist any type of new technology. The question would be, if Mike was here today, would he say, follow me on Instagram, or would he have had a social media platform if he would have used it? Because sometimes people don't embrace
it at all.
And change.
Yeah. I do. I think you can't, you know, because all he would have done was go on I'm gonna fuck it up. It was the Motown Awards and fucking, you know, do the song, put the hat on, put the glove on, and fucking
do the moonwalk,
and that changed the world. And that changed the world. So this is released almost 5 years later. Bad has 9 singles, including 5 number ones, becoming an absolute worthy successor. This is crazy. It didn't match Thriller, so he had to be satisfied with it also having the second best album of all time. That means he has the number 1 best-selling record of all time, Thriller, and Bad is number 2. It's being nominated for 6 Grammys, only won 2 in less important characters. And then, by the way, just to look at how impactful and busy his career was during that time, Michael took breaks while working on this to record the popular Victory album with his brothers, the We Are the World single, went on the Victory tour with his brothers because his parents were, you know, you gotta do stuff with your family first. So he never toured for Thriller. He did the Victory tour. He then films the 3D Disney park film attraction Captain EO. He wrote 60 songs for this record and recorded 30 of them, but was talked into making this a 10-track record by Quincy Jones. Those other songs, I talked to my buddy, they're out there. You can find them, but 60 songs, records 30, and you get these 10. And I feel that each and every one of these are important. And then the first one, obviously we already mentioned it, probably the most badass one. I'd say his like Beat It of this record is Bad.
Can you know how bad you got to be when your only competition is yourself?
Is you, yeah.
It's like this. I'm gonna beat his ass. Who is it? It's me. That's when you're at another level. And at that time, you wasn't. There was nobody. There was nobody touching Mike. That's when they had the Jet magazine used to have, like, at the end of it, it had like the number 1 single and then the number 1 album, and he like maintained the top 5 for like almost a year. Who does that? Nobody. That's what continues to make him bad. And another thing, man, I remember I was doing some comedy shows, and I was like, I want some music that when people coming in, they could feel good about, right? Yeah. And I chose and almost anything off of Michael Jackson's catalog I used to play. And I'm telling you, it would be people from all over the world coming in, and they would just be grooving, man. It's nobody like Mike.
There's nobody like Mike. No, there isn't, you know, and Bad is a perfect example of why, you know, he is, you know, it's such a great way to kick open the record. It's such a powerful song. Basically the title song inspired by a story Michael read about a young man from the inner city who had gotten into a prestigious private school in a better neighborhood only to be killed by his jealous friends. Michael actually got some of the story wrong. The boy had actually been killed in the mugging of a plainclothes cop gone wrong. What was it like? What was Bad like? I mean, you know, in DC at that time, did everybody just immediately when that because it's not the first single released from the record because the first single is I Just Can't Stop Loving You. Bad's the second one. Like, what are your thoughts on Bad?
But I'm telling you, when it happened
you know,
when it first came out, it just branded. It gave Mike another identity. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was almost like, okay, this is the guy that's being bullied, you know, and everybody can kind of, not everybody, but you know, if you went to grade school, whatever, you understand that story. The guy that's getting bullied, and finally he attacks the bully and he fights back. And for everybody that was a fan of Mike, just the fact that you saw Mike out of what you thought his character was, you know what I'm saying? Like, the fight. My father was a straight street hustler, heroin kingpin in DC. And I remember when Bad came out, he said, man, that motherfucker Michael Jackson is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Everybody could appreciate it. Was like, I'm fighting back or whatever. And it's interesting. You probably noticed that I heard that through stories, I heard that Michael had approached Prince.
Yes, I have. That was the next thing I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
No. I love that. I love that you know this. So just tell the audience, Michael Jackson intended this to be a duet with Prince, but Prince turned it down based on the opening line being "Your butt is mine," which is it's so funny that Prince, out of all the lyrics and the shit that he said out of his mouth,
but Prince used to have his ass cheeks out.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like when Mike was like, "No, Prince, turn around. Your butt is mine." But and then it's like for me, when I first moved from Washington D.C., I moved to Brooklyn, New York, and the stop where they shot this video was called Hoyt Skimmerhorn. That was the stop, and there was not a time, and I probably lived in New York for 9 or 10 years before I moved to L.A. that I did not walk down that subway train and feel like I was Michael Jackson screaming to the top of my lungs, "Your butt is mine."
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Directed by Martin Scorsese, starring a virtually unknown Wesley Snipes. And then the thing that I thought was also very cool was that a year later, the song and video were parodied by Weird Al Yankovic for the song "Fat." With Michael's blessings. He gave them the same location. I think he gave them the costumes and everything because he knew that these parodies were so big. He was like, I'm just going to get more money from it. And he just.
And then he already knew before, like 20 years later, he didn't know that he was having his viral moment. Was right. If you think about it, first off, back Weird Al Yankovic was so dope that whatever song you had, if he chose to parody that song, you knew, like you said, royalties and the fact that people was going to associate that song to the original song, and you're going to keep money. It was a smart shit. You need to do a goddamn joint on Weird Al Yankovic, how boss he was.
Yes, 100%. And it's also like kind of like it's like a rite of passage to get made fun of by Weird Al. Have one of your songs parodied. He did like Amish Paradise. He did Fat. We also did Eat It for Michael as well. So I want to ask you though about the story of the song, and I want to ask you about your life. It's like, you know, in this business, success can take off at any time for us. Did you ever have to deal with any jealousy when you first started getting success?
I had to deal with jealousy from the first moment I went on stage. The first moment I went on stage, I don't know if you remember, there was a comedy club called the Comedy Connection of Greenbelt. And I used to go to this place. I was a military police officer. I got out of the military. I was waiting to be a DC police officer. And I used to go to this comedy club, and I used to heckle everybody. I used to heckle all the comedians like I was an asshole.
Dick.
And I got so good at heckling that people started buying tickets to see the asshole.
To see you heckle.
Yeah,
fuck off,
like,
dude. Yeah.
They like, is that asshole guy going to be here? I'm like, yep, he's here. And then it was for me, like the first time I ever touched the mic, I caught a standing ovation. So to answer your question about the jealousy, you had people that was doing comedy that had 4 or 5 years, my senior, right? Yeah. And they see this young guy, this hungry guy, that's original storytelling, just come and just blow past them. They used to like, if you want to say like do haze and stuff with me, like, oh, you're the open act, you got to carry my bags, you got to do this type of stuff. And I used to be like, okay, not whatever I need to do, but if this is going to get me to another stage, this is going to get me to another opportunity, I'll deal with all the dumb shit that y'all have in front of me. Because one thing, y'all not going to work harder than me. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be hungry than me, and you're not going to stay as consistent as I am. But back then, I dealt with it. Anytime, in any field, you always going to have some type of jealousy and animosity toward other people, because your success and your drive is a reflection of their failures. It's a reflection of what they could do. It's a reflection of them making excuses. And my entire career, I never made an excuse. And I'm gonna keep giving you flowers, man. When I see you doing your thing, because I know the things that you started, everybody wasn't down with it when you first started. They was like, "What is this shit?" Whatever. They're like, "Yeah, whatever." And just to see you saying, "This is my shit. I'm gonna own it and I'm gonna show y'all." So our lives are somewhat parallel when it comes to hard work driven, and everybody's saying no. And
oh my God. I said, dude, I say it, I'm the herpes of comedy. You can't get rid of me, dude. I'll keep popping up, dude. You try to hold me down with some Val tracks, I'm gonna pop up on your lip.
I'm gonna tell you, like, one of my best moments with you was when we were in Mexico, and I know you probably have this.
Yeah.
I know you got this shit. Yo, they can't fuck with us, son. No. Yo, we went up there. I'll do my story if you need to add to it, whatever. So we doing the thing. First off, you kept like, sing a song, Donnell, sing a song. I'm like, I don't know the words to no fucking song. I'm like, what song could get these white people excited all from everywhere? Yep. And we did Born in the USA.
Yeah, we did.
Fucking what's the dude named the jackass motherfucker?
Oh, Steve-O went up before. He did a 35-minute story.
Yo, he ran the light
by 35 minutes.
Yeah, then motherfuckers telling me, "Oh, you gonna get 5 minutes?" I was like, "Oh no, I'm not." I'm like, or they was like, we were like this. Oh, what's gonna happen? They was like, we didn't know. This this story gets me chill.
Yeah,
we up there and we rocking that shit. Bzz, whole resort, pitch dark. Your drum was over. Like, what we gonna do? I was like, fuck that. I was like, yo, let's get them cameras out. We lit that bitch up and we did it, and it destroyed. Son.
It was one of the most. Yeah, dude, that was one of the coolest moments, especially because those crowds were just so jazzed. They've been watching comedy all day, so they're ready to party. They're drunk. They're at the beach. And then, like you said, and Steve-O will be the first to say it, because I remember I ran into him when I did MSG, and he was like, I was like, you should do the jam again. He's like, nope, never doing it again. Like, I know I did. My story was too long, and then the song, and I'm like, dude, you killed it, dude. You're great. And then Mateo, and then you, and then they cut the power, and Joel, my guitarist,
Mateo murdered that shit.
Murdered. But Joel, my guitarist, he was the smart one that pulled out the acoustic, and then you got the lights, and then we ended it with like a acoustic "Hey Jude," and then that was it, man. And it was legendary. And then Bruce Hill came up to us and he goes, "We're any of these we do around the world, you're coming." And then the next one happened, and we didn't get invited
because we didn't make no excuse, son. We didn't make no excuse. No. It could have been over. Like we said, fuck that. We keep going, man. That shit was amazing.
Sure. Let's jump into The Way You Make Me Feel. This is the third single. Has a swinging shuffle and a great video featuring model Tatiana Thumbzen and Michael dancing on a car. I want to mention the drummer on this, John Robinson, or JR, because he is one of the most accomplished and recorded drummers in musical history, who has played on more than 50 Grammy winners. Besides 6 songs on here, you know him from that famous intro to Michael's Rock With You, Ain't Nobody by Shaka Khan and Rufus, Higher Love by Steen Winwood, Express Yourself by Madonna, all those hit Lionel Richie and David Lee Roth songs, and DeBarge's Rhythm of the Night. His range is ridiculous, and I want to talk to you about your range, but first, before we get into that, like, thoughts on The Way You Make Me Feel, because this is iconic. This is so funny.
Yeah, this is what I used to get. I used to just take lines from Michael Jackson and get pussy off of it.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know what I'm gonna say. The way you make me feel, you knock me off of my, like,
hey, pretty baby with the eyes.
Yo, I'm telling you, I used to be in. You make me like I've never done before. You're just the victim of my lonely.
That's so funny because right when I'm about to have sex, I look at her and go, "Your body's mine."
Yeah, I like the groove of your walk. You talk your dress. Who sings with as much passion as Michael? And then I'll tell you straight up, for some reason in the Black community, there was always a question about Michael Jackson's sexuality.
Sure.
Because I think that he's one of those people like, I don't put my business on the street. You don't have to see me doing that. But I was like this, Mike, thank you for writing these pussy getting songs for us.
Sure.
And that's all you used to do. Just quote Michael Jackson's line. and you were off to the races. You were good to go.
I want to, before I ask you this question, I want to give, you talked about his voice, who sings like that. I want to give a shout out to my vocal coach, whose father was Michael Jackson's vocal coach. My vocal coach, Katie Riggs. She's one of the best vocal coaches out there. Her father, Seth Riggs, created this thing called speech level singing, which is, it's using the bridges in your voice from chest to throat to head. And Michael was like, he perfected it. And you go to her studio and it's just pictures of her and Michael together. And like, you go to his studio and it's just like, you know, platinum records everywhere. So shout out to them. Now, I want to ask you, we're talking about range, and this just shows you what the range can be. Not only are you a comic and had so much success, but dude, you were on the first and last seasons of The Wire.
Yeah.
Did you audition, or were the creators already familiar with your work? Because I know being from the DMV, they kind of hired from that area. So tell me, how'd you get it?
I'll tell you my relationship with that. If you're a fan of The Wire, then it's a chance that you know that The Wire was a spinoff off of HBO's The Corner.
Yes.
HBO's The Corner was Charles Dutton directed it.
Loved that.
David Simon were a part of that. I'll tell you, Josh, I think when I auditioned for the character of Bread, right? And I was in this audition, and I really thought I bombed this audition, right? I was in this audition. I was a green actor. I never took a class. I was just really like teaching myself little monologues and stuff, trying to get acclimated with acting. Sure. I went to the audition. I thought I bombed it. And the casting director, Jackie Brown Carmen, who was one of the biggest casting directors for HBO back then, she said, Donnell, just relax. God is in the room. You're going to be okay. Because I used to think that cast directors can't wait to tell you no. But they want to be able to say, I can pull from a group of actors and I'm going to get the book. And so they want to encourage you to do it. I did the audition. I still thought I bombed the joint. I book it and I go to set. And my first day, I saw David Simon. And I said, how did I get this job? I said, I thought I bombed in this audition. And David Simon said, Donnell, we like the fact that you threw your lines away and just went for it. Basically, I wasn't prepared. I didn't know my lines. So they thought I made a choice, right? They was like,
well,
we like the
genius.
Yo, I just started making up. And the thing about it, I think what helped me was, I'm pretty sure every actor that went in there, they knew, and I probably didn't read the whole script. I was so green. I was like, let's just read my lines. But I'm sure it was that everybody that knew this guy was a heroin addict went in there with the heroin, with the mouth, with the lean, and they didn't want to see the character like that. They wanted to see how this character was when he wasn't high, and who it was. Was he funny? So that happened. I got the gig, built a great relationship with David Simon, and like you said, going back to what you said, he is very loyal. He works with a lot of, like, you'll see people from Treme, The Wire.
Yeah, every dude and everything, and also just the HBO world. Like if you're on The Wire, you're on The Sopranos, or you're on this or that. It's very incestuous. On
and the thing,
HBO.
the thing for me, another thing was when I got the role of Day Price. This is crazy. When I got on set after booking Day Price, Robert Cosbury, he was one of the executive producers. He's no longer with us now. Great guy. First thing he said, what I gonna say, he said, you know, the role of Omar came down to you and Michael.
Wow.
But they said, well, we wanted to say that we thought it was something special about you being this senator's aide. And here's the plot twist. If you watch The Wire, you notice that it was some unanswered questions about my relationship with Clay Davis and everything. Mm-hmm. Like, you see me get pulled over. I get $20,000. They confiscate $20,000 from me. Hours later, they have to give me the money back, right? Now, they'll tell you, follow the money, right? And what happened was my character got lost because Baltimore Tourism Board complained about all the productions in Baltimore always being about heroin addiction, poverty. So if you know that you follow the story, the plot line went from the towers to the docks. And when it went to the docks, my character got lost. And David Simon was a good fan of it. I remember when we went to one of the parties for The Wire last season, he was telling everybody, he said, you know what, Donnell did a great job with me on The Corner and with The Wire, but he said, but he saved his best work for the Chappelle Show. And the fact that he was a fan of that show and what I did there, it was that dude is just an awesome guy, man. Good dude.
Great dude, great dude. I was a PA on a couple seasons of it, so it was the best. Yeah, and because I lived in Baltimore, I was going to school at Towson doing film. That brings us to Speed Demon, though. Speed Demon. After Michael showed up late for a session because he had gotten a moving violation ticket, Quincy told him to write about the experience, and he came up with this. The song is less interesting than the music video, which was also made by Will Vinton, whose claymation would feature into Captain EO, as well as two of his wildly popular commercial creations from the previous year, the California Raisins and the Domino's Pizza Noid, who both appear. Well, the Noid appears in the music video. All right, because I want to ask you about Soul, because we're talking animation. So first, where do I go? Do I go song, or are the California Raisins racist?
Oh yeah, they are. They are racist. They got every reason they burnt. They got every reason to be racist.
They're so great. I found this vintage California Raisin shirt, and when I wear it out, people go fucking bananas over it. But it's also kind of like black people look at me like, I'm like, all right, what do you want?
But you a tattooed white dude, so you get a pass.
I get a pass, dude. I got a little bit of swag. Let me ask you a question. Thoughts on Speed Demon? Do you have anything you want to add to it?
Not too familiar with it.
Okay. All right. So then I want to ask you about this. I want to say we're talking because the music video was animation. Speaking of animation, you have arrived in a career when you have voiced a Pixar character, and you're the barber in Soul. And that's forever, dude. That is something, these movies live on forever. They're never going to go away. They're actually more popular because every family's kid's going to be showing that. And so the same question about The Wire, how did you get that, and did you audition? Was it the same?
You know what?
Kind of
I tell you this, I have issues with my agents because a lot of times auditions come my way, and I say offer only, not because I'm being cocky or I think I'm this ultimate actor, but I've been doing it long enough. I'm so happy that I built a solid career doing stand up. Yeah, I don't have a problem with dancing, but I want to dance with somebody who want to dance with me. Like for the most part, it's like this. You got to be like this. This is the guy. You know,
yeah.
And then Pete Doctor and I forgot the guy who was a black guy. I forget his name. I'm losing it right now. But they handpicked me for that role. I didn't audition or anything. It was just basically like, we got an offer for you for this Disney picture. And originally, I think that like a lot of people were fans of Chappelle's show. They originally wanted Dave Chappelle to play the lead, the role that Jamie Foxx did.
Really?
They wanted him to do that, but Dave passed on and left opened the door for Jamie Foxx. You know, I was a part of that process. I didn't know what I was doing. The thing that gave me most excitement was that I was going to be a part of something that would live in my son's head forever.
Exactly. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, my son don't know. You know how sometimes you get advanced copies of movies. Mm-hmm. So we had a screener, and this was during the pandemic, of this movie Soul. Yeah, my son didn't really know too much about the movie. Nobody, because it wasn't being advertised on YouTube, McDonald's, or anything. And we did a movie night. One of my friends' house. We did a movie night, and we did the movie night. We did tickets and the popcorn and everything. So we planned the movie Soul, and I ordered some McDonald's, right, some Happy Meals for the kids. And this was so messed up because the Happy Meals got delivered to the house the exact same time my scene was coming up. My kids he didn't even remember that I was in the movie.
Hear you, yeah. He was like, McNuggets? McNuggets here?
You can't win over nuggets. And then after a while, you know, he started seeing like commercials and ads from like YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I don't think there was not a cooler dad on the planet than me being in that movie and then being the characters from that movie being featured in your kids' Happy Meal.
That's
because he knew, he was like, as long as the Happy Meals was in circulation, he was happy. Then I remember close to the end of that little run, he said, Daddy, I had a Happy Meal today. It didn't really make me too happy. I said, why? He said they got rid of the soul character, and then he was done with Happy Meals after that.
Yeah, well, there's always a point in your life where you realize that Santa's fake, and you realize the Happy Meals don't make you happy anymore. You know what I mean? Those are big existential moments in your life as a kid.
Man, we was broke as hell, man. Me and my do you know how it feels to split a Happy Meal?
I do. We were middle class and then lower middle class.
That's
so I remember like
being disrespectful to me. so rude. Get out of here.
Donnell Land.
All right, whatever. Anyway, back to the previous program.
Donnell Land.
Look,
what
What's up?
They saw.
All right, let's talk Liberian Girl, because I'm really excited about this question. This is the 9th and final single. It honors the small African country of Liberia, where they were astonished that a star as big as Michael Jackson would pay them such a tribute. Now, what I want to talk about is the music video, because if you don't remember it, it is a ridiculous amount of 80s celebrity cameos. And this is like, you want to talk about fucking nuts. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Sherman Hemsley, Mayim Bialik, Bridget Nielsen, Paul Abdul, Carl Weathers, Whoopi Goldberg, Jackie Collins, Billy D. Williams, Olivia Newton-John, John Travolta, Corey Feldman, Steven Spielberg, Debbie Gibson, Weird Al, Suzanne Summers, Lou Ferrigno, Don King, David Copperfield, Richard Dreyfuss, Danny Glover, Dan Aykroyd, and Steve Guttenberg, just to name a few. I mean, that is insane.
You name every A-list actor
in the 80s. Yeah.
But that's just how dope Mike, like, not too many people can pick up the phone, call somebody, is you're not going to get nothing but yes, 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 yes.
No, it's
I'm still trying to this day trying to figure out the lyrics to those songs. I just know there was another one of those songs that my friends, we were asking, like, how can we get a Liberian Girl?
Yeah,
Where is Liberia? We just wanted it. It was like Michael Jackson had Liberian Girl. We wanted that. That's what our goals.
Yeah,
trying to get Liberian.
What?
I feel like I'm turning the mic whenever I hear those songs.
Okay, being that you've just had such an interesting life, what celebrity or celebrities have you met that had you pinching yourself?
Michael Jordan, he fucking disrespected me. Not that I was.
Oh, wait.
Yo, this was so crazy. I would never forget this. I was at a club in Miami, and then I was hanging out with these chicks, and I had this look. It was called Professor Knowledge. I had the fake glasses with a bow tie. It was my whole Mos Def Brooklyn type of vibe, like trying to look super intellectual, right? And I'm at the club. I got a couple chicks with me, and then all of a sudden you see this wave of people coming in one direction, like almost like a fire drill. And then I was like, oh shit! I was like, it's Michael Jordan. The girl I was with. I was like, it's my Michael Jordan. I was just stuttering and everything, right? And this is when the Chappelle Show was popping. So I thought, like, everybody knows I'm rich, bitch, and all that.
Yeah.
I took my glasses off and took my hat off because I wanted Mike to see my face so he would get it, right?
Yeah.
And I ripped all this shit off. Then he went past, right? And then my girlfriend at the time, she said, God damn, you almost knocked my ass over trying to get to Michael Jordan. You tripping off him like that? You damn near got naked. I was like, bitch, ain't nobody get naked. This is the hottest shit in this club. You don't feel this shit, right? So I took my shit off. Then I walked over to the section he was, and I was like, he was with a guy, and I tapped him. I was like, my name is Donnell Rawlings. I was on Chappelle Show. I'm rich, bitch. I was wondering I could get a picture. He was like, you gotta ask Mike that. I looked at there. I said, can I get a picture? And he looked at me and he said, I don't do pictures, right?
Yeah.
And I immediately started hating on him. I went to the corner. I got on Twitter, right? And the hashtag was hating on Jordan.
Yeah.
Right? I said, I just saw Jordan in the club with some old ass Jordans on, right? Just stupid shit. And then I said, yeah, he can play basketball, but the motherfucker can't play no goddamn baseball. And then that was my love for Michael Jordan was done.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
But I was like, he had me like, up.
Yeah, you're like, he's not even wearing real Jordans. He's wearing Jumpman, fucking the ones that you buy at the WSC store that's on like Sunset Boulevard by Western.
Oh, fake ass billionaire motherfucker. You got mom jeans on. Dad jeans.
Dude. All right. Another part of me. No. I'm sorry. Just Good Friends. Yeah. This is the first of two duets on this record. This is similar to the playful competition over a lady in The Girl Is Mine from Thriller, but this time with Stevie Wonder instead of Paul McCartney. It's also likely the least known and appreciated song on the record of its including producer Quincy Jones, who is critical of its inclusion. So I guess he didn't want it. And one can understand why it was chosen, though. It was written by the guys who wrote Tina Turner's huge career-defining hit the year before, What's Love Got to Do With It? Any thoughts on this song, Just Good Friends, or you got anything?
I'm going to tell you, it's so not relevant to me that I don't even remember the goddamn song. But I do remember the Paul McCartney. I don't care what you say. The girl's yours, not mine. Yo, the fact that Michael Jackson was fighting over bitches was the shit, son. Yo, I was on the black side. We was like, whoop his white ass. I'm sorry. That's what we said.
I love it.
No, she's mine.
She's
but
mine.
They was polite about it. she's mine. Oh,
Yeah, those are
I'm
both
about to
two
go
of like
run.
those are both the two of the most non-aggressive people in the world. Just like I bet you both of them have like really soft hands. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Michael's got the softest, never touched anything hard in his life, and Paul
Now,
McCartney
Mike, I
just
seen the
British.
pictures. They said Mike would smack the ass off a motherfucker. That motherfucker has some big ass hands in them gloves.
You know what my favorite right now? You know what my favorite thing is? I got a great question. I'm actually very curious about, but my favorite thing is that clip that we've all seen where Michael's on stage and he's like singing, but he's actually singing to like his guitar tech or his sound guy, and he's like, "Brian, you're getting fired, Brian. Your ass is getting. You're gonna look for. You're gonna need a new job." He's like, he's killing
But they say
it.
he was a perfectionist. You don't get to that level of success where
100%,
you're like a
100%.
world icon without being a perfectionist and not accepting anything. You got to be a perfectionist. That's how you get to that level.
So my question to you, because we're talking about partnerships, and this is something that is I don't know if you've talked about it before, but how did you meet Dave Chappelle?
Well, the crazy thing was we met each other through reputations on the comedy circuit in DC. Yeah. At my 50th birthday, Dave told a story. Chris Spencer asked him, how did you meet Donnell? And Dave was like, I'll tell you how I met him. He said, when I had it popping. He had left DC. He said I had it popping in New York. Then I would come home for the holidays and I would always ask, who are the hot comedians now? And Dave said it would always be the usual suspects, guys like Andy Evans, guys like Fat Doctor, Tony Woods. But the owner of the club said, but there's this one guy, this young guy named Donnell Rawlings. He is on fire. And Dave, we all have a competitive nature. And when Dave heard that, he was like, man, fuck that motherfucker, right? And then when I used to ask the question, what guys left DC and made it in business, like who's popping, they would be like Dave Chappelle. I was like, what makes him popping? They was like, he's young, he's smart, he don't just do the bullshit comedy. And when I heard that this, not competition, but this was the guy that came from the same place, I said the same thing Dave said. I said, man, fuck Dave Chappelle, right? And then our paths will cross, and that was all in a jokeful, playful way. But our paths will cross when we used to do like clubs like the Cellar and the Boston Comedy Club.
Yeah.
And we weren't really close then. We just had mutual respect for each other from guys coming from DC. And my biggest relationship and connection with the Chappelle Show, it was Neil Brennan. Neil Brennan took a liking to me, my stand-up, and I helped him with a project early on in his career where he started getting some notoriety as a director. But Neil was the guy who was really gunning for me to be on the show, of course, with being validated with Dave, and that's how our relationship built. And we became closer. When I was doing the show, we didn't really hang out that much. I always kept it like, I just want to be business. You know what I mean? I don't need to hang out, whatever. Just say, actually, let me do my thing. It wasn't until after the show, when he disappeared and then we started touring again, that we really, really became super close.
Yeah. I love that you said, and there is a thing about growing up in the DC area, whether it's in the city or in the surrounding areas, and I mean, I always say the D and the M. I don't give a fuck about the V. The V can suck it, dude. But I'm talking like the DC and Maryland, that little in that Montgomery County.
Damn, you just said fuck the V. I went to high school in the V, motherfucker.
Don't, dude. They're trying to get rid of cream. They're trying to get rid of cream pies, dude. You can't cream pie there. You try to cream pie in Virginia, you get in trouble. You can't. You got to keep it.
They did used to call us Virginia Bammers, though. They did call us Bammers.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. Northern Virginia is fine. It's when you go out, like go out past Springfield. That's when it's like, go fuck yourself, dude.
Yeah, I didn't do that too much.
But I'm sorry. Yes, the V is a part of the DMV. Okay, but there is a beautiful thing about that support that I've noticed, that whether it's Tony, like I've become friends with Tony Woods, Brandon Wardell, and Andy Haynes, and all the guys, Rory Scovel, anybody that spent time in the District U, like we just get it. We get what this. It is a great thing about it.
It's a sense of like loyalty, and then like DC has put out some of the best comics in the game. And that people sometimes ask me, well, why are the DC comics so good? Because we kind of learn from the guys before us. You know what I'm saying? Like the work ethics, how to structure jokes, how to do jokes and everything, and we just follow that path.
Yeah, exactly.
DC pulls out some good comics.
Really do. They really do. And I was just in Baltimore, and I do the DC Improv, and anytime I do, it's just they always get people that have opening for me are just the best. So big shout out to the DC Improv too, dude. You were so funny when you did your impersonation of Ashley at the 930 Club. And you
What
were
did I
like,
do?
remember it was like the owner of the DC Improv. You're like, go, 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 go.
Oh
She's
yeah, when I
always
popped him.
nervous. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's always nervous about something. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. She was like, no, I said she was like this. Daniel, oh. Yeah, we had a good time. Oh, she's been nervous.
That was, dude. That yeah, I'll show you. You're right fucking here, dude. I still have my pass from that
so
day.
dope.
This is one of those goals. This is one of those things for me.
She's been
that's
nervous. Like, oh man, she's been nervous forever. For
We're
20 years, I've known her. Okay, what do we do? But you know, that's her personality. But I love making fun of her.
Yeah, she's the best. All right, another part of me. This was originally used in an earlier form of the DC Parks 3D animation Captain EO starring Michael. This is another song, Sleepwalker. We're vying for inclusion on the album with Quincy wanting this and Michael wanting Streetwalker. Not Sleepwalker, Streetwalker. The choice was made after Michael's manager, the portly Frank DeLeo, who auditioned both songs with Michael and Quincy, only got up and started dancing to this one, proving Quincy right. What career move have you been wrong about?
I know this sounds weird, but I don't think I have.
Yeah, nothing. I don't see it either. I feel like you've been very smart about what you do.
Because like I don't expect too much, right? I've been a tortoise compared to the hare for years. You know, the things that I do are for the most part calculated, and I feel like it's all about just connecting the dots. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've made any bad decisions in regard to what could propel my career or move me forward. I think I just maintain a nice level of consistency throughout.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't give myself goals like I need to do this or I'm a failure. I just take it like one step at a time. And at the end of the day, whether I get another film or TV opportunity, I feel good knowing that I've created a brand that I could put on the marquee and I could make money telling jokes. Anything else is just a bonus and just extra to it.
You ain't lying, man. It's like living that. If you love your job and it doesn't feel like work, they don't even get it. They pay us at these clubs, and I'm like, you don't even realize I do this shit for free, man.
Yeah,
I love it so much. So every moment that you have, that is doing this thing or not having to do a job that you fucking hate, and having your own time and being able to like have the financial, like to be able to like have the moment is not to be like, oh, I don't have to do that because I have the money and I'm fine. So
yeah, but it's just like it all depends. I tell people, I mentor some people, and then I tell them that in this business, if you don't know how to be happy being broke, you got to get out of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Sure.
It's something.
Yeah.
It's all mental, and I had some of the best times I've ever had is when I've had a limited budget and had to make sacrifices, and I just had to do the minimum to get by. I know a lot of people in this business. I've had relationships with super successful people, and then what I realized is most people get to a certain level of success, people like this, they see where you are right now. Those are not the stories they want to share. They want to tell you the come up stories. They want to tell the stories of, I remember me and Tracy Moore when we first started in comedy, where Tracy had a Toyota Corolla, right? And we drove his car from DC from New York to DC, putting antifreeze in it every 20 or so miles. Those are stories that people really like to appreciate. And it's always good to know where you came from.
Always. Oh, what a perfect way to segue from that into Man in the Mirror. Yeah. It was like you basically just, I mean, I have the question is great, but Man in the Mirror, I mean, this is one of the iconic songs off this record. This is the fourth single, co-written by Quincy Jones' prodigy, Glenn Ballard, who would go on to co-write Hold On by Wilson Phillips. That fucking is nuts. That Hold On for One More Day. That's like in the top 3 whitest songs of all time.
Right.
And to produce and co-write, Jesus Christ, the next one's even whiter, Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill, amongst other successes, and Saida Garrett, who we'll talk about more in the next song. Quincy invited Glenn and Saida and a group of other writers up to his house specifically to write hits and only hits for Michael for this record. Glenn came up with the music and Saida came up with the lyrics, and they have a demo a week later. It was approved almost immediately for inclusion on the record. It's how could it not? This is one of the songs. This is like when you think of Michael, this is one of the, I'd say in the top 10 songs that you have to talk about.
Make a change. Yo, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not. I don't consider myself a Swiftie, and I don't really know where her catalog is.
Yeah.
But when I think about Man in the Mirror, I think about her song Anti-Hero. It's like a lot of similarities. Like when he says, you take a look at yourself and make a change reflective of where your life is, knowing where you came from. That's I even had a DJ. I said mix Man in the Mirror with Anti-Hero. You know, I'm going to make a change for what it's me. Hi, the problem is me. It's the same principles in the song. Like, okay, you want to do something different. First person you got to look at is yourself, and that's the first place you make a change. But like that song, whenever I go through in my life where, you know, I'm going through a transitional period or something, or I want to step something up, I always play that song. Just remind me of, all right, if you're going to make a change, it starts with you. It starts with you looking in the mirror. It really does. What can you do to be a different person? Yep.
100%. And, you know, I don't know if you know this, the instrumental version of this was played at the end of Michael's memorial service. So I wanted to ask you, what song would you want played at your memorial service? Please say French Montana. Ain't worried about
Ain't worried about nothing. There it is. French Montana. Ain't worried about nothing. That's it.
Wait, what would you really, for real? Like what?
New Day, the song that was like the track for my special.
Yeah.
That Nina Simone, A New Day, that resonates with so many people. It's so historical. And then kind of like really stamped my special. That would be a song that I could appreciate, because even though like if that's the end of my existence, it's a new day for somebody else and keep my memories going.
100%. I think mine would be, you know, I could say like Vincent by Don McLean. I could say like, I always made a joke about like Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue, but fuck that, dude. Like, I think my favorite song of all time is this Nat King Cole version of the song Stardust. And it's not about like life and death. I think it's more about love and love lost, but it's just such a beautiful song. It's like one of my good, like, cry songs. So if you haven't listened to it, I talk about it all the time on this podcast, but it's either going to be that or it's going to be Rump Shaker by Rex and Effects.
Oh, that's hilarious. Do both of them. Make sure tell them to do a mix.
Do a mashup. The loneliness. All right, where are we? Fucking. All right, let's do I Can't Stop Loving You. This duet ballad was first offered to Barbra Streisand, who thought she was too old for a love duet with Michael to be taken seriously, and then Whitney Houston, who didn't want to detract from her upcoming hit record release. Man in the Mirror's co-writer Saida Garrett, who had previously duetted with ex-Temptation singer Dennis Edwards on 1984's Don't Look Any Further, was summoned to the studio by Quincy Jones. She figured she was going to just do some overdub vocals on Man in the Mirror, but then she was surprised to be told that she would be duetting on this with Michael and recording it that day. Despite having no accompanying music video, it became the album's first single and first #1. What was your most surprising success?
I think it was early on because it happened to me so quick. And I mean, I've done stuff that's, if you want to say bigger than that, but my first validation of anybody thinking that I was funny to be on a platform would be Def Comedy Jam. When I did Def Comedy Jam years ago, I was only doing comedy for like 6 months.
Really?
Yeah, I was doing comedy for 6 months. And the way we got the audition, I was opening for a lot of the Def Jam acts at that club in Greenbelt. And one of my good friends, Royale Watkins, he gave me his business card that he was represented by Rush Communications, like just to show off or whatever it was. And I took his card one day and I just called the office, Def Jam office, and I act like I had already knew who Bob Sumner was. I called the receptionist. I was like, "Yo, where Bob at? This Donnell. Put him on the phone." She's like, "Who is it?" I said, "Donnell. Listen, I gotta go. Tell him to call me. It's important." And I tricked her, and she was like, "Hold on, wait, Bob, Donnell's on the phone, right?" And I got it. I was like, "Yo, I'm a new comic. I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months. I've been working with a lot of guys that you work with and just want an opportunity to audition." He was like, "Can you come up Thursday?" I was like, "Well, I got to see if I can get off of work." He was like, "You still got a job? Call me when you ain't got no fucking job. It's the only thing that means something to you." And I went up a week later. I did the audition. In the middle of the audition, Royale said that Bob loved you. You got the show. And I was on Def Jam. And I don't think that it was like a breakaway set for me. I was still young, just getting familiar with a lot of stuff. But it just felt good knowing that, you know, it wasn't a bigger platform than Def Comedy Jam back then.
No, it wasn't. And dude, to be 4 months in, you really were. I mean that's true. It's like it's one of those things where it's like you are the perfect combination of confidence, fun, and material. Where it's like if you can even just drop the material, you're just you on stage talking is so likable, and the energy.
Right.
So that's really impressive to be at 4 and 5 months and already be developed enough to be doing, like you said, one of the most prolific shows for black young comics. I mean, Def Comedy Jam was the make it or break it thing. I mean, it made fucking Bernie Mac, changed his life. Chris Tucker had the perfect 6 minutes, and then next thing you know, he gets Friday. So
a lot of people don't know, even with the Bernie Mac story on Def Jam, that wasn't planned for it to happen like that. The story is a comment from DC named Butch Burns. He had went on before Bernie. He bombed so bad Martin couldn't put anybody in check. The room was chaotic. There was nothing anybody could do other than just like, okay, the next comedian. And it was when he was that. If you think about it, the electricity was so bad because Bernie flipped it. When he did that first punchline, he's like, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. It was lights out. He was a household name, and especially in the black community.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Also, if we're going to talk about communities, I want to talk about because this song was recorded in Spanish and French. You speak Korean. You've done it on Chappelle Show. No, not. It's broken, but still, you were stationed in South Korea with the Air Force. How did the show?
What I do know is that a hooker couldn't overcharge me. That's what I know. That's what I know. I do poji, I pisayo. That means your pussy too expensive.
Go fuck yourself.
I go pisayo, poji, pisayo. They used to be like this. Unpisayo. I'm like, bitch, that's pisayo.
Do you have a Korean fan base because you've spoken Korean like on the Chappelle Show and stuff?
No, I think that not that I know of, but I do know that like when I sometimes I have Koreans come to my show, that's probably an interesting part of my career they know about. But if all goes well with what I want to do for my next special, I want to be the oldest Korean pop star. I got an idea on how to connect those two worlds, and I think it's going to be good.
I hope so. If anybody can do it, it's you. All right, Dirty Diana. I mean, now we're getting into the final 3 songs. These are 3 of the jams. 5th single, second venture into hard rock and heavy metal, was an attempt to recreate the popularity of Beat It from Thriller by featuring Billy Idol's guitarist Steve Stevens, similarly to how Beat It featured Eddie Van Halen. The song is about groupies, and contrary to popular speculation, it was not named after either Diana Ross or Princess Diana, although both loved the songs. Thoughts on Dirty Diana? Or
I just felt sorry for any girl named was Diana when that song was up, because it didn't matter what Diana became their last name and Dirty became their first name.
Yeah,
he left a stamp on any chick named Diana was dirty, and you wanted a Dirty Diana back then. I wanted a Dirty Diana that was unpisayo.
I always thought that this song was like, and I asked Morty, my writer, I was like, when we had our little powwow, I was like, was this a reaction to Prince's Darling Nikki? Because it feels like it has that kind of vibe, and look, it's funny because we talked about it where it's like Michael isn't this sexual being, but yet some of his songs are very sexual. Some of his songs are very like that. He is I'm not offensive, but he's like on the prowl for a woman. I didn't know if it was. I mean, if you had to pick between Dirty Diana and Darling Nikki, which one are you picking?
Darling Nikki.
Darling Nikki, yeah.
I mean, I knew she was a sex fiend. Yeah. I met her in the motel. Come on, man. Dirty Diana was cool, but Prince was about that. He was putting that work in.
He's putting that work in, dude. So you got to coordinate.
Yeah, you can keep that rhythm going with a Prince track.
Smooth Criminal. We got 2 left. This 7th single describes a tale of a woman being violently attacked in her apartment. Similarly to the frenzy about Michael's use of the moonwalk, this video introduced the seemingly anti-gravity lean he and other dancers performed while harnesses and wires were used for the music video. In 1983, a special shoe and peg system was designed and patented for Michael's tour. Thoughts on Smooth Criminal? I mean, this is the lead. It was
a dope video. I'm telling you, the whole album just made you feel like Mike was going through a transition. He wasn't going to pick on him anymore. He was sick of it. And that song was just like, he was a badass fucking, did he have a gun? I don't know if he had a gun. He did have a gun. He had a gun in that in that music video.
This is Smooth Criminal is you know, when you talk about all the stuff from this record and you think about the music video, this one is the one that sticks out the most to me because of that lean. That lean,
Yeah.
he was always at the forefront of coming up with something
that made you go, oh shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the lean, you know, because I mean, it's so funny is that Michael was the kind of guy, because of the moonwalk was so impressive and like everybody tried to imitate it, that when he did the lean in the music video, you're like, you could almost believe he did that on his own because he's so otherworldly. Like he isn't this human. He's Michael Jackson. He's the king of pop. So
man, that lean had us busting our elbows and kneecaps and everything trying to do that goddamn lean, man. Yeah, but if you could get it, the people who could get it, you could get it. But that was
get it. You can get it.
Back in the day, you were always excited about Michael Jackson with new music, and even I don't know if it's equal, but you was also excited about what new move that he could do and have the whole world trying to do exactly the same thing that he
do you remember, because I have a question about Law I want to ask you, but do you remember like the next day after Michael moonwalked on the Motown Awards? Do you, because you're of that age,
everybody was trying, we looked crippled trying to do it, but everybody, which we couldn't figure out, everybody was doing the move. It seemed like that was the dance that just resonated through the world, man.
Michael Jackson,
that moonwalk. I'm telling you, my father, dope dealer from DC, was like, oh shit. And his gangster ass was trying to do the goddamn moonwalk.
I love it. Speaking of talking about, like, you know, his gangsters, what was your worst brush with the law?
My worst brush with law when I caught a DUI in New York, and I knew it was a setup because it was one of those streets. I didn't go crazy, but it was a street that was a two-way, and it turned one way, one side, and I went the wrong way, and all I could hear on the side was like, "We got another one!"
Oh, you motherfucker!
Yeah, it was a setup, but I mean, I don't make fun of it because that's a serious situation, but that was good choice on my part. But I'm lucky that nobody got hurt. I was cool, and I got past it.
It was a mistake, dude. I'll tell you right now, I've got 3 of them. I haven't drank in 16 years, and you know, DUIs are not funny.
They're expensive too.
They're expensive. Well, I got out. My first one was dropped. My second one I got PBJ, and my third one I got PBJ. If you tally up everything, because the last one was in 2006. If you tally up all the money that I spent, it was probably $3,000 in total for 3 DUIs, which is nothing compared to what it is now.
Oh yeah, now it was like 10,000.
Exactly. So, but dude, good for you. You know, I know, dude. It's these streets here in New York fucking suck. So I get it.
But I got past it, and it's all good.
Yeah, rock and roll. All right, last song on the record, "Leave Me Alone." Even though this was on the CD, but not the vinyl LP, it was released as the 8th single from the record. It addresses the many controversies and rumors Michael dealing with at the time that brought him positive and negative attention from the press and the tabloids. Among them were his plastic surgeries, him sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber to stay young, him trying to buy the Elephant Man's bones, and his adoption of Bubbles, the chimpanzee, all of which are represented.
It was a weird way. It was a weird year. It was a weird year.
Very weird year.
Have you seen Bubbles lately?
Is he still alive?
Oh, man. Bubbles look like Morgan Freeman right now, man. Yo, Bubbles look like, man, he got the receding hairline. Bubbles is fucked up. Bubbles is like, leave me alone. Bubbles looks horrible right now, son.
That's crazy. I didn't know. But I thought with chimpanzees, I guess they age like humans, huh?
Yeah, that motherfucker look bad, boy. That's like white man aging. He aging like a white man, Bubbles.
I mean, why was it? All right, then here's the question. I don't want to talk about the bad stuff that he's accused of, but all of this stuff, would you feel that he really was this weird character, or it's just,
it's like what geniuses that people don't have some question about what their mental state is. You know what I'm saying? Like he's Michael Jackson is like you can't compare him to anybody. Can you imagine the pressures that he had being the king of pop? You know, rumors and speculations about him. And like I said earlier, still being able to maintain to the point where you still want to be a man of the people. You still want to do your thing. And everything that you do is under a microscope. You can't have a regular life. You know what I'm saying? And Michael's had this type of fame since he was a kid. he can't go to the park, can't do like simple things that we take for granted. And he was a man that was inside his own bubble, his own world. But I'm just lucky enough to know that I came through in an era when I used to see his music charting. You know what I mean? I used to see his performances on TV. You know, I still remember that the S. Sullivan show when he sung People. I think he was with his Jackson 5, People Make the World Go Round. I'm fortunate enough to say that I can remember from ABC to him breaking away, not knowing what he would do, but everybody around him and his whole family knew that he was a superstar.
Sure.
And just to be able to experience that, it's crazy. And I met one of his sons. I met Prince a couple years ago, and he was a very, very good, very pleasant person. It's hard to even have a conversation with him and not want to say, "So how was it growing up with your dad?" You know, that type of shit, you know. But I gave him his space, a very humble dude. And good stuff, man. Just to, to say that you experienced Michael Jackson is good. That's awesome.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we were very, very lucky. You know, my first memory of music is Thriller. It's watching the Thriller music video. It's I remember when Bad came out. I remember when when Fox, the day that Dangerous was released, they did a whole like hour presentation about it and premiered the music video black and white. What other artists do they do that for? It's like, that's why like no one will ever understand. You know, when you talk about the Beatles, when you talk about Elvis, when you talk about Michael, and Michael at least was in the century where there was music videos and more television, but how big these people were. Like there are statues in other countries of Michael Jackson that people still.
Anytime you could go sell out a whole country, Budapest,
whole country, yeah, you can sell out the
come
country
up out of the ground and just stand still for 5 minutes, and they got ambulance coming, first aid kits and everything. Nobody, it'll never be another Mike.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about this being Leave Me Alone. What was your most controversial moment? This is the last question.
Of Leave Me Alone?
No. Just for Leave Me Alone, the question I want to ask you is, what was your most controversial moment?
In my career?
In your career, yeah.
Damn, it's a tough one, man. I think I've had a very, very long, good career. I know it sounds crazy, like, oh, it must have been some ups and downs, but I don't remember any downs. It's always been up. Like I say, it's been a steady pace for me.
No. But you've never said anything or anything that got you in trouble?
Oh, on the stage?
Yeah, or on the stage or in your career,
no.
like whatever.
Nah.
Good for you.
I don't know. I think people. Nah, I don't think so. Nah.
Right on, dude. Yeah,
I mean, when you say get you in trouble, what does that mean? Like maybe 4 or 5 people don't want to go to the show. I haven't done that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, like I always tell people, like, am I counselable? Yeah, but the likelihood of that is not happening because people want to see me do stand-up. You know what I mean? I'm not a movie star. I'm not a TV star. So my biggest employer is the people that come and pay to see me do a show. So if those people are not trying to fire me or cancel me, the other shit don't even matter.
No, I dig it. All right. So I asked these questions to everybody, but first I want to ask you this, because we're being that's the end of this record. Do you remember where you were when you found out Michael Jackson died?
Man, you know how much weed and shit I've done in my life, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember last week, motherfucker.
Come on, that's like a global thing. That's like a 9/11 thing. You don't think so?
I don't.
You don't remember? I was in LA, Bliss Cafe.
I was in LA. And I'm gonna tell you, this is Michael Jackson's death is what started to validate TMZ. That's when TMZ blew up off of Michael Jackson's death. Because when TMZ was just starting out, when it was like, what type of news show is this? When Michael Jackson passed away, when everybody was speculating what was going on, TMZ said, he's dead. And now I remember I was going to upstate New York. I know exactly where I was. I was driving upstate New York to do a gig, and I didn't know what was going on. But I realized something was weird because every station we turned it on, they was playing Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
On news, every station. And I was like, he must be gone. That's where I was, upstate New York, driving to a goddamn show. And me and my friend just started bawling.
Yeah. I mean, it's so sad because there was so much more he could have done. He was about to do that huge tour. You know, I never have seen him live. I mean, actually, right at that time, I don't even know if I would have been able to afford a Michael Jackson ticket. But
Right.
you know, it's just like he's him, Prince, the Tom Pettys of the world, the David Bowies, these iconic figures. Now they're not on the same level as him, but you know, it's just, I don't know. To know that he's gone. It still doesn't.
But you know he's gone. But then whenever you hear a song, you know he's still alive. His music will stay alive forever.
Yeah, and I also think that, you know, Michael is uncancelable on anything. You could throw any charge at the guy, and you know. But the thing is, it's like
they've tried, but at the end of the day, his music lives the test of time,
for sure. I asked these questions to everybody, dude. This was so much fun. I'm so glad you got to come on, dude. And we still have 200 more episodes to go. So I'll have you back for another thing. We got a bunch of great shit coming up. We asked this to everybody. Favorite song on this record?
Man in the Mirror.
Man in the Mirror. Yeah. What's your least favorite song on this record?
The one I don't remember. Did you say it? Leave Me Alone? That's the one.
All right.
Man in the Mirror gets played on rotation. At least every couple of weeks, I'm playing Man in the Mirror. And it's something that makes me really want to check myself, say what I can do to be a better person, what I can do to go to the next level. That's it.
Dig it. Can you fuck to this record?
Man in the Mirror? Yeah.
Not to Man in the Mirror, to the whole record. You know, can you put on Bad and get your fuck on?
Not, I mean, when I was in the 20s, yeah, but not no more. Not no more. That's a young man's sport, bro. I take you shopping now.
I think there's too much, like, this album is too much positive shit, like that it's hard. I mean, you can fuck the Bad, you can fuck to the way.
Liberian Girl,
you can fuck to. Just Good Friends, maybe not so much. Another Part of Me, and Man in the Mirror. I don't want to fuck to that.
Bad could be climactic though. Bad could be
bad. Dirty Diana, and
that's
and
like
Smooth.
Almost like, what's that joint y'all guys do at Pseudo Fixio? What's that shit when you grab him by the neck?
Oh, you choke a bitch?
No, I ain't call it choke a bitch. It's a medical. It's something that sounds a lot better.
Oh, autoerotic asphyxiation.
White people always know how to pronounce it. Yep.
That's the thing you do to yourself. That's not asphyxiation is what you do to the other. Erotic asphyxiation is what you do to the girl.
The fact that you can explain like that,
because the guy from INXS died that way, and I think somebody else. But yeah, that's like
the karate. I know you're talking about
the karate guy. Yeah, David Carradine, the guy from fucking Kill Bill.
Yep, he did.
That's crazy.
Whacking off and choking himself, whatever.
Damn it. What would be your pitch to get someone to listen to this record? How do you sum up why someone should listen to this?
I would sum it up like this: you want to change your life, you want to do something, and you want to hear a song that's going to have all the answers for it. Put Man in the Mirror on.
For sure. Promote away, dude. What do you want to promote? You know, we're going to promote the fuck out of it at the beginning and the end and all this, but like
Donnell Rawlings, the website, the podcast is coming back to Donnell Rawlings Show. Subscribe to that. Just follow me on all social media platforms. Follow me, buy a ticket to my show, DonnellRawlings.com, blue check everywhere.
Blue check, dude. I love you, buddy. I can't wait to see you soon, dude. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.